Hey everybody, welcome back to GWN. I am Knock, your host. I am going to do a Clan War recap video today. That's right, we had a Clan War in Divergent Void. The first Clan War win in 464 days. I told you guys I wasn't a big fan of the new matchmaker, so I stopped doing my warring over a year ago. Apparently, it was almost a year and a half ago. I didn't think it was that long, but man, oh man, it has definitely been a while. The new members of the clan, they were chatting in the clan chat, and they said, "Hey, Knock, how about starting up a war?" And I said, "All right, well, I could dig it. We'll see what happens." And it did not disappoint. I actually had a whole heck of a lot of fun, and even better, we won 73-71. This was one of the more down to the wire clan wars that I've been into. We went back and forth between 65 and 73 stars on this over the course of 2 hours. I mean, it was on edge the whole time. We had one of our guys who wasn't available till the end of the war, and he came in at the very end and got us a couple more stars. I was I was nervous. I was thinking, oh my gosh, first clan war in over a year, and we're going to lose it or tie it. But he came through, knocked out the extra stars, and we just rock and rolled to 73/71. Had an absolute blast. Taking a look at the war details, you can see the attacks that were used and how many we won. I mean, used 56, 147, lost 9, had 4 attacks remaining. So we went through a good portion of our attacks. I like to go through my games, and at the very end, even if it's something that can't attack and get stars of its own, I'll go ahead and just attack anyway because you get the loot, and really it's kind of a bad habit to not execute all of your attacks. I try to just, even if it's just to get 1 star or whatever, I use all my attacks. Our opponents, I think the biggest problem they had is they didn't quite deliver as many stars as we did in the 3-star category. They did much better on the 2 stars, but the 3-star category I think is what really got them. And they had some attacks that they lost. They lost 8 attacks. They didn't use all their attacks, and that's always rough. Taking a look at the most heroic attack and the most heroic defense. I don't know. I'll let you guys decide. We'll take a look at this one with Kusfan knocked. This was one of my attacks. And I started fiddling around with this Go Bowie or Bow Witch attack. It's my first time using it. As I'm back after over a year of not warring, so I kind of asked, what's the hot attacks? And it turns out that this attack with golems and bowlers and witches is a really strong and good solid attack. So I thought I'd give it a spin. And the way it works is you typically clear out the flanks with night witches and golem, and then you bust into the middle or you use a jump spell. And I couldn't see the sense of using a jump spell with this base because the way this particular base was designed, if I could get those walls down right there on the side where I go in, I had full access to the entire middle of the base. Drop a freeze spell on the Eagle Artillery, rage the bowlers in, and boom, the Eagle Artillery is gone in no time. Drop another one, and they're working on those infernos. They take out the town hall. I mean, it's a quick slam kind of attack using those rage spells. After that, it's that little bits of cleanup. Some of them will go around the outside. Typically, that's where your witches go. Wrong game. And the witches will do some cleanup. Ideally, you want something walking around with them to do a little bit of tanking. It'd be nice if one of the Golemites walked around with them, but they didn't. They ended up going in the middle too, which didn't prove to be that bad. But that's the difference between a 2-star and a 3-star. Had they some kind of tanking, this could have very well ended up being a full 3-star win. But they didn't, so okay. Still pretty good, I think. It was still pretty fun for my first attack back after over a year and doing it on my Town Hall 11. And let's wrap this up real quick. We just got a few seconds left. There we go. And down with the last couple of skeletons. Not too bad. 75% 2-star. We'll get the Town Hall 11 3 stars in the next one, I think. Most heroic defense. Clash Maniac. Okay. Let's see who attacked Clash Maniac. He's a Town Hall 9, a rush game. Clash Maniac is the original Journal of a Rusher game that I put together a little over a year ago, I think it was. I rushed it to Town Hall 7 very, very quickly. It was less than 30 days before I had a Town Hall 7 base up. And then it was very shortly thereafter that I had it at Town Hall 9. So the base is rushed. I don't think it's too terrible rush. It's rushed nicely, I think. Obviously, the walls are kind of low, but I don't put a whole lot of emphasis into the walls. So it looks like Konoyuki comes in with, I'm gonna call it a Valkyrie attack. It's not quite Kova. It's got a golem, but it seems to be more powered by Valkyries than anything else. And attacks like this, those Valkyries, I tell you what, man, they are just the bomb. But in this particular case, the layout managed to defend fairly well. As you can see, the Valkyries worked their way into the middle of the base, and pretty much everything is focused on defending the middle of the base. Whether it's the air defenses that are defending against the various air troops, which he doesn't have in this one, or it's the expos, which point into the middle very well, either top or bottom, and of course on the sides. You've also got the hidden Teslas. Did I have two down there? I think it was two of them down there on this base. But again, you can see, it funneled them around, the troops around the outer edge. That's where the witches go. The Valkyries go in the middle, and they get taken out fairly quickly. And unfortunately, there's just not a whole lot for the witches and their skeletons to work on around the outer edges. Even raged, it just doesn't matter, and the witches don't have a whole lot of health, so they go down fairly quickly. Ends up being a 0-star 42%. I think there were some better defenses in this one, but it's not too bad. Now, what I think was a really good attack, and I'm going to show this one now. This was my favorite attack of the whole war. And it was from Tyler. There we go. Now, check out this army. He's got archers, goblins, wall breakers, wizards, minions, hog riders, and golems. I mean, there's not much he doesn't have in his army. Obviously, with 27 hog riders, this is a predominantly hog rider army. But what's neat about this is he's taking certain troops to attack certain things and to perform certain functions within the attack strategy. And if you watch, you'll very quickly pick up on what each one of these troops has for their specific responsibility in the attack. This is the kind of attack that you really want to try to do when you get a little bit better at some of these war attacks. First and foremost are the golems. They go in, they're going to act as tanks and absorb some of the defensive fire from the opponent's base, and they're going to break in through a wall most likely. If you have wall breakers, which he does in this case, you can send them in to break the hull, and again, typically you'll see your golems move around and go in through that hole so they get access to more of the defenses, as opposed to hammering away at a wall. That's part of the smart part of the AI. He drops that jump spell, and man, I think that is just perfectly placed. If it wasn't for the double walls that are in the center of the base, I think you would have seen more jumping in, but that doesn't really matter because he has some ranged troops in the bowlers, which just go in and absolutely wreak havoc with everything, throwing their balls and taking out, or their boulders or whatever you want to call it, and taking out two defenses at one time. They don't last all that long, I guess, but they're able to do a sufficient amount of damage that now it's just a matter of the hog riders going in and mopping up the last several defenses. And he does a really good job of placing his healing spells. He takes 3 healing spells, which is smart with the hog riders. That'll help you defend against the big bombs, the double bombs, but it also helps you to defend against the defenses in general. And I don't know if you saw it or not just a few seconds ago, but he was locked onto by an Inferno Tower. The Inferno Tower nerf, I'm sorry guys, those Inferno Towers have very little value when they're set to multi anymore. And it's a real shame. It really is, because they used to be a force to be reckoned with, but now, if they're on the multi-threat like that, it's just not that big of a deal. I mean, a single heal spell kept those hogs alive all the way through their attack by the Inferno. So I'm even less a fan of the Inferno nerf than I was before. I've seen it in action. When I'm on the attack, I definitely like it. But other than that, I don't like it, not one little bit. So at this point, everything is down. It's just pure cleanup. Got some archers doing some cleanup, another wizard up there. In goes some goblins to work their magic on some of the resource buildings. And they really do work quick. And of course, the minions and the hog riders working their way around as well. So definitely was the best attack. What about the match? Well, if you look at our opponents, they come with 4 Town Hall 11s and 6 Town Hall 10s. On the other hand, we had 4 Town Hall 11s and 3 Town Hall 10s. So you got to think, all right, something's going on here. Why is it a little lopsided? And the reason for that, you can't really see it since all the buildings are destroyed, but the reason for that was what was down at the bottom. Down at the bottom, they had several Town Hall 4, 5s, and 6s. And I know why clans do this. I'm not the kind of guy who's going to do that on my clan, but the idea is that having lower Town Halls at the bottom of your lineup will in fact drop your overall matchmaker scoring. And I don't know that it works as well as it did years ago, but it does still work a little bit, and that's why we got a lopsided match on this. But it's a double-edged sword. Because of that, they didn't have what they needed to successfully destroy all of our lower bases. And this is part of the reason why you got to be careful with these matches when you try to engineer a clan. You see some 3 stars down here, but you also see some 2 stars. Now these are all Town Hall 7s. Anybody who wars knows you can easily 3-star a Town Hall 7 with another Town Hall 7. And there is, let me see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 stars on Town Hall 7s that they left behind. That is a lot. And all they would need is a couple more Town Hall 7s to not have left so many down there. They did dip a little bit. When you look in the event log, you can see a few places where they did dip down. 11 to 15, 4 to 20, just to get that extra star. 21 to 28, 2 to 5. Let's see here. 17 to 28, 4 to 13, 3 to 6, 3 to 30, 2 to 4 is not bad, 3 to 3, 19 to 29, 24 to 29. So, I mean, in most of these attacks, 22 to 27, 24 to 30, they're actually dipping down. Whereas I tell my guys, hey, do either your mirror or 1-up if you think you can get at least a 2-star, preferably the 3-star. So it's a difference in strategy, but in this case, it cost them. The other problem they had was with some of their offenses. When you really look at it, you see that they were a little light on offense for war on some of their bases, and that hurt them. I think that's why you see some of them dipping down, because they're not quite as strong. So that's the war recap. That's what happened and why it happened. Had a great time. If anybody from Physics Clan is watching the video, hey guys, thanks a lot for really a great war. It was super exciting at the end. I mean, I haven't had one that exciting, in a long time when I was warring, let alone for the first one back. Great time. So, on that note, I'm going to go ahead and close out this day's video. I appreciate y'all sticking around to the very end of the video, and if you're new, please do hit subscribe. If you're a returning visitor, thanks a lot. Appreciate the return view. Take care and keep on clashing. Bye-bye now.